I still hear those words every damn night before I close my eyes. You need to apologize to him or we're done. It wasn't just the words. It was the tone. Cold. Final. Like she'd rehearsed it 100 times before saying it. She didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Just stared at me like I was a stray mutt who'd pissed on her designer carpet. Let me back up, not too far, just to that night. It was a Friday. Rainy. We were hosting a dinner party at our place in Westwood. Classic crowd, her coworkers, a few of our mutual friends, and him. Tyler. Her so-called best friend. Tall, smug, always too handsy with her in front of me. I hated the guy from the start. Something about his laugh made my skin crawl, like he knew something I didn't. And damn it, he did. My wife, Jessica, insisted Tyler was like a brother. Strange thing is, I've got a brother. He doesn't whisper in my wife's ear when he thinks I'm not looking. That night, it all blew up. We were in the kitchen, refilling drinks, when I caught Tyler pressing his hand to her lower back for just a second too long. She didn't pull away. Didn't even twitch. She smiled. That same smile she used to give me when we first started dating, like I was the center of her universe. Only now, it was pointed at him. I pulled him aside. Tried to keep it civil, man to man. I said, "Hey, bro, back off a bit. Yeah? You're crossing lines." He laughed in my face. "Lighten up, Ethan," he said. "She's not made of glass." That was it. I told him to leave. Called him a snake. Things escalated fast. Voices got raised. The room fell silent. Jessica came storming over and dragged me by the arm into the hallway like I was some misbehaving kid. And then she said it. "You need to apologize to him or we're done." I blinked. "What?" She folded her arms. Looked at me like I was beneath her. "Tyler was here before you. He's more important than you." I felt my breath leave my lungs. I didn't even argue. I didn't scream or beg or try to reason. I just stared at her. The woman I married. The woman who used to fall asleep on my chest and tell me I made her feel safe. I walked past her, grabbed my keys, and left. Drove until my phone died. Checked into a cheap apartment downtown that night and told myself I'd go back in the morning. That maybe she didn't mean it. That maybe it was the wine or the tension or the pressure of the evening. But she didn't call. Not the next day. Not the day after. 5 days. Silence. Then on the 5th night, just as I was about to crash after a long shift, I heard a knock at the door. It was Jessica. No makeup. Hair a mess. Crying like her world was ending. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I don't know what I was thinking, but I wasn't some lost puppy she could whistle back. "I need to talk to you," she begged, voice cracking. "Please. Let me explain everything." I should have slammed the door. Instead, I stepped aside and let her in. My mistake. Because that night, everything changed. And the truth she dropped on me? It made me wish I'd never opened that damn door. She stood in the center of my apartment like she didn't recognize the space, like it was foreign territory, too small and too quiet for her chaos. Her eyes scanned the room, searching for something familiar, something that made her feel like she still had a place in my life. I didn't say anything, just leaned against the wall and waited. She finally spoke. It wasn't what it looked like. That line. That godforsaken line. I almost laughed. "What did it look like, Jess?" I asked calmly. Because from where I stood, it looked like you picked your best friend over your husband. She hesitated. Bit her lip. Her old trick when she wanted to seem vulnerable. I'd fallen for it 100 times before. "I panicked," she said. "I was embarrassed, and I didn't know how to handle the situation." "You didn't know how to handle me asking a man not to touch you like he owns you?" I snapped. Or was that just inconvenient timing for whatever you and Tyler had going on behind my back? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then she sat down on my couch like she was exhausted, like I was the one who had put her through hell. "Okay," she whispered. "Fine. I'll tell you everything." I stayed silent, heart pounding, fist clenched behind my back. I knew what was coming. My gut had been screaming for months. "It started a few months ago," she said. "After we had that fight in February. The one where I caught her texting someone at 3 a.m., and she swore it was her coworker asking about a presentation. Right. It was one time," she continued. "Just one night. I was drunk, and I didn't mean for it to happen. I stepped forward. With Tyler." She flinched, then nodded. "But it didn't mean anything. I regretted it the next morning." "Then why the hell did you defend him like your life depended on it?" Her expression changed. No longer guilty, now irritated. "Because he's been there for me, Ethan. When you weren't. When you were busy working late, or too tired, or too critical, or... There it is, I said, my voice low. You cheated, and somehow, it's my fault. Her face twisted with frustration. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. The silence between us stretched. I could hear her breathing hard, her hands twitching like she wanted to reach for mine but knew better. I made a mistake, she said. But I don't want to lose you. Do you even know what losing someone means, Jessica? I asked. Because when I walked out that door 5 days ago, I waited. For a text. A call. Anything. And all I got was silence. I was scared, she muttered. No, you were hoping I'd come crawling back. Like always. That hit her. She looked down at her hands and blinked back fresh tears. But I didn't care anymore. Not about her crying. Not about her words. I didn't plan it, she said weakly. Tell me this, I asked. Was it just that one night? Silence. My stomach dropped. She didn't answer. Jessica. Still nothing. I stepped forward. How many times? Her voice was barely audible. 3. I turned away, my whole chest tightening. The walls felt like they were closing in. I stared at the window for a long time, trying to breathe. Then she added, but it's over now. I swear. I haven't talked to him since that night. I spun back. You told me to apologize to him less than a week ago. She opened her mouth. Closed it. The lies couldn't even keep up with each other anymore. I didn't know how else to protect myself, she said. Protect yourself? I repeated. From what? Me? The guy who's done everything to make you feel loved, who backed you through every dumb business idea, every drama with your mom, every passive-aggressive post your friends made about me. She stood up, furious now. I said I was sorry. I laughed bitterly. You said a lot of things, but none of it changes what you did. She stepped closer. We can fix this. No, Jess. You broke it. And I'm done trying to glue your mess back together. She slapped me. Not hard, but just enough to break the last piece of whatever we had. I didn't react. I just nodded slowly. And I opened the door. She stared at it. Then at me. You're seriously kicking me out? I'm done. She stepped outside without another word. No apology. No breakdown. Just walked into the night like she still thought she could win. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could finally breathe. But the story wasn't over yet. Not even close. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the couch staring at the door, half expecting her to come back and start banging, yelling, crying something. But nothing. Just silence. She was gone. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if that was relief or the start of a deeper kind of pain. The next morning, I did something I'd been avoiding for weeks. I pulled out her old laptop, the one she used before she got her new MacBook for work. It was collecting dust under the bed, untouched, forgotten, or so she thought. She always assumed I was too trusting, too naive to dig. I wasn't. It took me a minute to guess the password. Her mother's birthday. Classic. And just like that, the screen lit up, and a flood of her digital life spilled into mine. Emails. Messages. Files. There was a folder. Labeled Taxes 2021. She thought she was clever. Inside weren't tax files. Just dozens of saved screenshots. Conversations. Photos. And not just of her and Tyler. There were others. Men I didn't even know. Names like Brian, Eric, Lucas. Some messages were months old. One of them went back nearly a year. Back when she and I had been planning a vacation I had to cancel for work. She told me she'd spent that week alone, catching up on sleep. She wasn't alone. The text said it all. I needed that night with you. I was starving for it. I can't believe I feel more alive after one night with you than in a year of marriage. There it was. In black and white. Not just betrayal. Disgust. Contempt. She didn't just step outside our marriage, she spit on it. Mocked it. I kept scrolling, numb. And then I saw it. A video. I hesitated. I wish I'd closed the laptop. But I didn't. It was her. In our bedroom. Laughing. Wearing something I'd bought her on our anniversary. And the man holding the camera wasn't me. I closed the laptop and sat there in silence for a full hour. My hands were shaking. Not from rage. Not even sadness. Just a complete, soul-deep hollowness. Like someone had scooped me out and left me a walking echo. I didn't cry. Not yet. That would come later, at the most random, humiliating times. Like at a gas station when the cashier asked how my day was going. Or while folding laundry and finding that stupid hoodie of hers I used to sleep in when she traveled. I called my best friend, Mike. Told him everything. He offered me a place to crash, a bottle of whiskey, and an alibi if I needed to bury a body. I didn't laugh, but I appreciated the offer. The next day, I served her with papers. She showed up again, of course. Cried harder this time. Threw herself at my feet in the hallway of my apartment like we were in some twisted soap opera. Neighbors peeked out their doors. I just stood there, arms crossed, watching her melt down. Please, she sobbed. I made mistakes, I know. But I love you, Ethan. Tell me something, I said. When exactly did you stop loving me? Was it before or after you let Tyler film you in our bed? Her face went white. And for the first time, I saw something real in her eyes. Not guilt. Not shame. Fear. You watched it, she whispered. You saved it. She looked like she was going to collapse. You're not even sorry, I said. You're just sorry, I know. She grabbed my shirt. I was lost. I didn't feel desired. You changed. You became cold. You want cold. I pulled her hands off me. You haven't even seen cold yet. She tried to slap me again. This time, I caught her wrist mid-air. Don't, I warned. She froze. That arrogant, manipulative mask finally cracking. She realized then I was gone. Not physically, not just legally, but emotionally, spiritually. I didn't belong to her anymore. She left without another word. And for the first time in weeks, I slept. Deep, dreamless. But the real storm was still coming. Because a few days later, I found out something else. Tyler wasn't just her affair partner. He was planning something bigger. And she was in on it. A week passed. I tried to keep my mind on work, stay focused, keep the phone off, ignore the aching silence that followed me like a damn shadow. But something didn't sit right. The way she left. The way Tyler just disappeared from her messages. It felt too clean. So I started digging. First thing I noticed, our joint account had multiple withdrawals over the past 6 months. Large ones. Thousands. Labeled under random categories like consulting and wellness retreats. Problem is, I never approved any of those. And Jessica sure as hell never told me. I called the bank. Had the statements pulled. $32,000. Gone. She'd been funneling money out of our account and sending it to a business account registered under someone named T. Reynolds. Tyler's last name. My chest tightened. I opened LinkedIn. Found him. He recently launched some fake-looking media agency 3 months ago. Website with stock photos. No employees listed. No clients. Just a contact form and a flashy slogan. We build your brand from the ground up. Bullshit. Next, I called a friend of mine, Connor. He's a tech guy, deep in cybersecurity. I told him I needed dirt. Fast. Within 2 hours, he had access to Tyler's Dropbox. Inside? Contracts. Signed by Jessica. Agreements transferring shared assets from our business to Tyler's shell company. My name forged. They were trying to steal everything. My clients. My intellectual property. My brand. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was dismantling me, piece by piece. I sat there, staring at the screen, heart racing, palm sweating. I'd been sleeping next to a damn vulture. Feeding her, loving her, defending her, while she planned to gut me and hand the pieces over to her snake of a lover. I sent the files to my lawyer, plus everything from her laptop. He called me 10 minutes later. Ethan, do not speak to her again. She's not just playing dirty, she's playing criminal. The next day, I went home. Not to talk. To gather evidence. I waited until I knew she'd be out, probably grieving with her girlfriends or, more likely, Tyler. I still had my keys. I walked in like I owned the place, because I did. Every piece of furniture, every appliance, every bill, paid for by me. I opened her home office and found a locked drawer. Crowbar did the trick. Inside, documents. More contracts. Flash drives. A journal. That journal. It wasn't even hidden. Just sitting there, full of her handwriting, page after page of filth. Not just about Tyler, about others. About me. Mocking me. Writing about how she tried to love me, but I'd never made her feel like a goddess. That I was too small for her world. That she wanted to build something big with Tyler, and I was just dead weight. I took the whole drawer, dropped it in a duffel and walked out. 3 days later, she was served again. This time with criminal complaints. Fraud. Forgery. Theft. My lawyer moved fast. Her accounts were frozen. A court order stopped the asset transfers. Then came the fun part. Tyler showed up at my office. Entitled prick had the nerve to try to intimidate me. Drop the charges. Ethan, you're just bitter your wife finally found someone real. I laughed. Loud. Right in his face. Someone real. I pulled out a flash drive. This real enough for you? He went pale. You think you're slick, Tyler. But you forgot, I built systems for a living. And I tracked every single file you moved through that agency of yours. He tried to talk tough, but I wasn't listening. I handed him a sealed envelope. Here's what's coming. Court date, full discovery, and a forensic audit. Hope your fake business holds up. I walked away before he could respond. The next day, I got a call from Jessica. Blocked number. I picked up out of spite. She was crying again. They froze my accounts. I can't even pay rent. What are you doing to me? I'm just giving you the credit you deserve, I said coldly. You wanted to destroy me? Congratulations. I learned how to play your game. I didn't think it would go this far, she sobbed. No, Jessica. You didn't think I'd fight back. And then I hung up. She texted 20 times that night. Called 7 more times. Left a voicemail saying Tyler abandoned her. That he packed up and disappeared. Guess he wasn't so important after all. I sat on my balcony, whiskey in hand, staring at the city lights. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. But I wasn't done yet. The next few weeks moved fast. Court filings, depositions, evidence handoffs. Jessica tried to delay the proceedings, claimed emotional trauma, tried to guilt the court for ruining her reputation. But it didn't stick. My lawyer, Dan, made sure of that. Every email, every bank transfer, every lie she'd scribbled in her journal, we had it all. Tyler was nowhere to be found. Turns out, his media company was under investigation for wire fraud in 2 other states. Once my lawsuit hit the system, federal eyes turned toward him. His social media accounts went dark, his office was cleaned out overnight, and the last charge to his business card was a one-way flight to Belize. Coward. Meanwhile, Jessica started crumbling. She showed up at my office one morning, uninvited, dressed in some sad imitation of humility. No makeup, hoodie, looking like someone had unplugged her ego. My assistant tried to stop her, but I let her in. For one reason only. Closure. She sat across from me and didn't speak for a solid minute. Just stared, like she was trying to read my mind. But there was nothing left for her to find. The part of me that once loved her? Gone. Torched. I miss you, she said finally. I didn't flinch. She tried again. I made mistakes. But I never thought you'd turn into someone who'd try to destroy me. You did that on your own. I was scared, she said. I didn't know how to build something by myself. That's why you lied? Stole? Sold me out for some low-rent hustler with a camera and fake charm? She looked down. I didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, you did. You just didn't expect consequences. Then she started crying. Real tears, this time. But it wasn't grief. It was panic. I have nothing, she whispered. Tyler's gone. My name's ruined. I'm broke. I don't know what to do. And then she had the nerve to reach across the table and touch my hand. Ethan, maybe we can start over. Maybe this was what we needed to grow. I stared at her. Long and hard. You think this was a growth experience? I thought maybe we could learn something from it. I pulled my hand away. I did learn something. I learned what it feels like to watch someone you trust morph into a complete stranger. I learned how deep betrayal can cut. And I learned that no matter how good someone looks in a dress or how sweet their voice sounds in the morning, they can still be poison. She said nothing. I stood up. This conversation's over. My assistant will walk you out. She didn't move. Just sat there, staring at the floor, like a child being told Santa wasn't real. That was the last time I saw her in person. The divorce finalized 6 weeks later. She walked away with nothing. No alimony, no assets, not even the apartment. Everything she'd tried to steal fell right through her hands like sand. I kept working, built back stronger. My business grew. Word spread fast in the industry. People respect a man who doesn't break under pressure, who handles his hell and still shows up every morning sharper than the day before. And as for me, I don't hate her anymore. Not exactly. Hate's too clean. What I feel is something colder. A kind of indifference that comes after the fire burns out and all that's left is ash and memory. I deleted every picture, threw out every gift, donated the stupid hoodie I used to sleep in, but I kept the journal. Not for revenge, for reminders. Because when someone shows you who they are in writing, with their own hand, you never forget it. The last thing she wrote in that journal was this. If he ever finds out, I'll just cry. He'll believe me. He always does. Not this time. Not ever again. It's strange, the way peace creeps back into your life after chaos. It doesn't knock. Doesn't announce itself. One day you wake up, and there's no pit in your stomach. No anxiety when the phone buzzes. No invisible weight pressing on your chest the second you open your eyes. That day came for me about 3 months after it all burned down. I was walking through a park, just clearing my head, when I passed a couple sitting on a bench. Young, laughing, the way Jessica and I used to, back when it was good. Before the mask slipped. I didn't feel bitterness. Not anymore. Just a quiet ache, like remembering a song you used to love but now can't listen to without flinching. My phone rang. It was my lawyer. Good news, Dan said. They froze Tyler's offshore account. The feds are on it. He's not going anywhere. That was the final thread. The last move in a game I didn't even know I was playing until it was too late. Tyler would rot in some foreign jail or, if I was lucky, in a U.S. courtroom where I could watch him squirm in a cheap suit. As for Jessica, last I heard, she moved back in with her mother. The same mother who once pulled me aside at a family dinner and said, "You're the best thing that's ever happened to my daughter." Right. Her Instagram went quiet. Probably embarrassed. Or rebuilding her next persona. But I had nothing left to say. I'd already said everything by walking away. One night, I got a message request on Facebook. It was from someone named Rachel. Hi. I know this is weird, but I think we have something in common. My boyfriend cheated on me with Jessica. I stared at the screen for a long moment. We met for coffee the next day. She was sharp, witty, too smart to be caught up in Tyler's web, but heartbreak doesn't care how smart you are. It guts you all the same. She told me everything. Their relationship overlapped with mine. Jessica wasn't just cheating on me with Tyler, she was cheating on Tyler too. It was a circus. A con within a con. Apparently, Rachel found out when Jessica messaged her by mistake, thinking she was texting one of her other toys. We laughed. Genuinely laughed. I hadn't done that in months. There was no spark between us, just two burned souls finding a weird sort of comfort in the fact that the fire hadn't completely turned us to ash. As the weeks rolled on, I started putting myself back together. Therapy helped. So did the gym. Long drives. Jazz music. Cold showers at 3 a.m. when the thoughts got too loud. It wasn't linear. Some nights I still dreamed of her, not the monster she became, but the illusion I married. But I stopped blaming myself. I stopped asking why. Sometimes evil doesn't wear horns. It wears perfume and a fake smile and says, "I love you," right before it stabs you in the spine. There was a moment, small but defining, that told me I was healing. I ran into her sister, Maddie, at the grocery store. We used to be close. She looked at me, stunned. "Wow, you look good." "Thanks," I said, meaning it. "She's a mess," Maddie whispered. "Keep saying she didn't think you'd actually walk away." "I did," I said. "And I'm not looking back." Maddie nodded slowly. "She thought you'd always be the safe one. The backup plan. She miscalculated." As I turned to walk away, she called out, "You deserved better." We all knew it. That hit harder than I expected. Because deep down, I didn't know it. I just didn't want to admit that I had spent years investing in someone who only saw me as a stepping stone. So here's what I learned. If you ever feel like you're constantly justifying someone else's behavior, explaining away their lies, making excuses for their absences and rewriting their betrayals to protect your own heart, you're not in love. You're in denial. Trust your gut. Pay attention when the people around you stop clapping for your happiness. When your own reflection looks tired. When her words don't match her actions. And if she ever looks you in the eye and says, "He was here before you, and he's more important than you," don't argue. Just walk. And never stop walking. About 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. No postage stamp. Just my name, scrawled in familiar handwriting, left in the mailbox of my new place. I knew who it was from before I even opened it. Inside were 5 photographs, all printed on glossy paper. Old school. One of them was a picture of me and Jessica on our honeymoon, smiling like idiots on a beach in Tulum. The second, her in my hoodie, curled up on the couch with her bare feet in my lap, reading some crime novel she'd never finish. The other 3, I didn't recognize. Taken recently. Jessica alone in cheap apartments, cigarette in one hand, makeup smeared, eyes hollow. No note. No explanation. Just proof. Proof of decay. Of what she'd become without the lies holding her together. I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel anything at all. That's how I knew I'd won. She wasn't just out of my life, she was out of my mind. Her power over me had snapped the moment I realized who I was without her. And it wasn't weakness. It wasn't the backup plan she once thought she could crawl back to. I was someone better. Sharper. Cleaner. More dangerous, in a quiet kind of way. I threw the photos in a drawer. Not to keep them as trophies, this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about memory. Sometimes you need to be reminded of how close you came to losing yourself. And I almost did. The weird part is, people started noticing the shift. Colleagues, friends, strangers. They said I looked more confident. That I carried myself differently now. Like someone who'd walked through fire and come out on the other side with steel instead of scars. Maybe that's true. Or maybe I just finally stopped apologizing for being the guy who expected loyalty, honesty, basic respect. One night, I got drinks with my buddy Mike. He looked at me across the table, beer in hand, and said, "You know, man, the way she treated you? That would have broken most guys. But you didn't just survive it, you evolved." I didn't know what to say to that. Because there were nights, dark, brutal nights, where I did feel broken. Where I stared at the ceiling wondering what the hell I did to deserve betrayal in my own bed. Nights where I punched the walls, screamed into pillows, considered texting her just to feel something again, even if it was rage. But I didn't. I let it all bleed out of me. Slowly. Ugly. Necessary. And I came out the other side with a new rulebook. Rule 1. If someone threatens to walk, open the door. Rule 2. If someone lies once, it's a mistake. If they lie again, it's a pattern. Third time? It's who they are. Rule 3. Never fall in love with potential. Fall in love with consistency. It's funny, looking back now, how many little signs I ignored. The late nights. The phone she kept face down. The way she laughed too hard at his jokes. The sudden coldness during arguments, like she was rehearsing detachment. I saw it all, but I chose blindness. Because I wanted the dream more than the truth. But the truth always comes. And when it does, it doesn't knock. It kicks the damn door down. If you're reading this, and you're in that space, suspecting, doubting, waiting for confirmation, trust yourself. Don't wait for her to spit in your face to prove she never respected you. Don't let love be the leash that drags you deeper into your own destruction. Walk now. Because I promise you, what's waiting on the other side of that pain is freedom. It ended quietly. No final screaming match, no public blow-up, no courtroom drama with gasps and confessions. Just silence. The kind that feels permanent. The kind that doesn't need closure, because it is the closure. I never heard from her again after that envelope. No more texts. No late-night voicemails. No sudden appearances. Maybe she realized the curtain had dropped, and there was nothing left of the stage we built together. Just ashes and empty rows. I moved on. Not into someone else's arms. Not immediately, and not out of desperation. I moved back into myself. Started traveling. Spent weekends hiking upstate. Picked up boxing again. Took long, pointless drives with no destination, windows down, music loud, the way I did in college when I thought heartbreak was something only songs talked about. I saw friends more. The real ones. The ones who stuck around when I wasn't fun to be around. When I was paranoid, angry, tired of my own voice. They didn't say, "I told you so." They just sat with me through the fire. Eventually, the world started to look good again. Food tasted better. My apartment didn't feel haunted anymore. I stopped flinching when someone mentioned her name. I even started laughing again, not forced, not polite, but real, full-bodied, from the gut. One night, I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a man I didn't recognize, but I liked him. He had lines around his eyes and a harder stare, sure, but he stood taller. He didn't need anyone's permission to feel whole. I realized then, she didn't break me. She revealed me. And for that, oddly enough, I'm grateful. So here's my final word to anyone going through what I did. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone the benefit of the doubt when the doubt keeps tearing you apart. And you sure as hell don't owe loyalty to someone who uses it like a weapon. You'll bleed. Yeah. You'll question everything. You'll have nights where your chest feels like it's caving in. But you'll survive. And one day, quietly, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and feel weightless. Not because everything is perfect, but because she's gone. And you're still here. Still standing. Stronger than ever.